What's happening, everyone? Today we've got a completely different type of video than normal. Today I'm going to be making my 20 to 1 Premier League predictions, and I've got something really exciting for one lucky person. If somebody's able to correctly predict all 20 teams in the comments, you'll win a £50 Amazon voucher. But don't go changing your predictions on the last day. I will see when the comment was made and I'll see if it was edited. So get your predictions in now. Quick disclaimer, I'm making this on Friday the 15th, about 3 hours before the Liverpool game kicks off, but it's not going to be out until Monday, so who knows what happens over the opening weekend. But let's get into it. Starting off at number 20, I've got Burnley. I think fair play, their success in the Championship was amazing, but I do think that top tier Premier League teams will just be able to break down that defence easily. I think Kyle Walker playing at right back for them, we saw what he did in the Prem last season, and for me, he's just not going to be enough to keep them up. I really think they're going to struggle this year. I think losing Trafford so detrimental for them. Like, he was an absolute rock in nets last year. They don't have that. They're going to concede a lot more goals, and I've got them going down. I also think Scott Parker, he's never been able to do it in the Prem. He's been relegated twice, and I think this is going to be a third for him. Moving into 19th, I've got a bit of a surprise considering where they finished last season, but I've got Brentford to be relegated. Their spine has been absolutely demolished. Norgard, Flecken, and Bumo, they're all going to be really difficult to replace, and from their work in the transfer window so far, I just don't see them doing it. They've also lost Thomas Frank, who, let's be serious, has been their best ever manager. But not only did they lose him, he took all of his backroom staff with him, except for Keith Andrews, who they've now made manager. I mean, he's the only person that he doesn't want to take with him, and they've made him manager. Zero managerial experience, zero Premier League experience. I do not see it going well for Brentford whatsoever, and that's why I've got them finishing 19th. Moving into 18th for our final relegation place, I've got Leeds. I think their team just lacks real top flight quality. I think they haven't strengthened enough. They've got money, they've got the link to San Francisco, they've made signings, but I don't think that they're Premier League worthy. I think all of their attackers are really going to struggle with the pace of the league. I just don't see them having enough to get out of that relegation zone. But I've got them 18th, so I could be wrong, because they could be replaced by who I've got 17th, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Let's just break down who Wolves have lost this year and why it's going to make them really struggle. Matthias Cunha, Ryan Aitnuri, Pablo Sarabia. Cunha pulled them through last year. They were in a relegation battle at the start of last year, and Cunha worked his socks off to get them out of it. He's not there anymore. I could see Wolves going down, but I've got them just surviving. In 16th, I've got quite a big shock for everyone, and I've got the first promoted team that isn't being relegated in 3 years, Sunderland. I think the work they've done in the transfer market has been absolutely phenomenal. Enzo Lefebvre, who obviously came in on loan last year, Simon Adingra, Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka has left Champions League football behind to play for Sunderland. If a player of his quality, I know he's not getting much older, but he's still a phenomenal Premier League player. And if a player like him can leave that Leverkusen team behind, come to Sunderland, he must believe in the project. And so do I. 15th is the first team that I don't think is going to change from last year. I've got West Ham. I don't think they've strengthened enough to move up, but I don't think the teams below them have got enough to push them out of it. I think Wilson is a really bad signing. He's on £6,000 a week, but gets 100k if he plays. He's never fit, but the issue is Graham Potter doesn't have the backbone to not play him if he is fit. He'll feel bad for him, and it's just a recipe for disaster in my opinion. I don't like Potter as a manager. I don't think he's inspiring. I don't think he's got enough to pull the team out of the trenches. I think he's really going to struggle with this, and West Ham will not have it. I think we will see one of those season ticket holders running onto the pitch, grabbing that corner flag and planting it in the centre circle. I think we're about to see massive problems at West Ham. 14th, I've got Everton. Now, I don't like Everton. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm biased. Fair enough. But a team that gets a new stadium can go one of two ways. Either that's going to spur them on, there's going to be a new buzz around it, new atmosphere, or it's going to completely ruin their home form advantage. And with Everton, I don't think they have enough to pull themselves out from the treacherous positions they've been in the past few years. They've got Grealish now, but is Grealish enough? Is that Grealish that we saw at Aston Villa gone forever? Has he been too pepped? Has he lost all of that creativity? Will we see him play on the wing? Will we see him play in the 10? I genuinely don't know, but I don't think he's enough to pull this very subpar team any higher than 14th. 13th, I've got another team that I think is going to be lower than last year. I've got Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth's defence has been absolutely desecrated. Kepa, Kirkes, Zabarni, Hoyson, Neto. That's two of their keepers and three of their starting back line. With a team that can't spend the same amount of money as other teams to replace them. Look, I quite like Bournemouth. I think Semenyo is a really, really exciting player. And I think Areola is a top class manager. But I just don't think they have enough to really push into that top 10 and fight for Europe. I think it's going to be a really tough season for them, but I'm really excited to see the game tonight. Okay, 12th place, probably the team that is going to get me the most hate, but let's be serious, it's pretty accurate. I've got Man United sitting in 12th place. All I keep seeing from Man United fans is they're going to have this meteoric season and they're going to jump 10 places and fight for Europe. I just don't see it. I know Donnarumma could be good if he comes in, but will they get him? Baleba, another one, doesn't look like it's going to happen. So they've got Onana in net, who I think is genuinely one of the worst keepers in Europe. They've got two very good attackers with Premier League proven quality, but they're not used to doing that push for Europe. They're not used to the pressure of Man United. And I think yes, they'll have good seasons, but they're not going to be the talisman of their team like they were last year. And that will affect their numbers. Sesko's an interesting one. If we go back to the Euros, I was really excited about Sesko. And he didn't have a good tournament. And then last year, I think he got what, 8 league goals, 13 league goals, something like that. Not incredible numbers. And I think United need more than that. And they haven't got it, so I've got them finishing 12th. 11 is one I'm quite shaky on because I actually do think that they could finish much lower, but they could also be surprising and finish a bit higher. I've got Fulham. I think one signing for £500,000 that won't start doesn't do it. Their team has lost a lot. Their depth has been demolished. Players like Willian, who, yeah, not getting any younger, but a good player to be able to bring off the bench. They've lost all of that. They've got an okay starting 11, but not much more than that. So I think they're really going to struggle. Marco Silva, though, is a very impressive manager and could drag them out of everything, but he could also drop them. Top 10 now. And in 10th, we've got Nottingham Forest. Chris Wood surely can't do it again. He's not going to have another season where he's putting up numbers that compete with pretty much every striker in Europe. Having European games surely going to hinder them, having to play twice a week. We've seen it with teams like Newcastle, Aston Villa. They're not built to be able to fight on all fronts like that, and I think it's going to be really detrimental to their season. Look, they had a great season last year, but will there be a bit of a hangover from that? I think possibly, so I've got them dropping down a little bit and finishing 10th. Ninth place, we have the biggest jump from last year, Tottenham Hotspur. 17th last year is just unacceptable from a team that called themselves a top 6 team. And will they get back to that top end of the Premier League? I don't think so, but I also don't think that they're going to be down as low as last year. So I've got them in the top 10. I've got them ninth. Thomas Frank, I think he's a good manager for a team like Tottenham. I think the style of play that he wants to play is exciting but also pragmatic. We've lost Ange Ball that was just horrendous. I mean, he basically sacked off the league and fought for Europa League, and yeah, it worked. They beat United. They now have silverware, but their league form was pitiful. I do think they'll be a lot better than last year, but I don't think they're going to be fighting for those European places. So I've got them in ninth. Eighth, I've got a team that has been starting to really excite me. Glasner Ball's cooking with Crystal Palace in eighth. Even though Palace haven't been that exciting in the transfer market, I think the best thing they could have done was hold on to Eze and Guehi, and at the minute, that's what's happened. And I think that is absolutely massive for them. They've got Europe for the first time ever, which, again, like Forest, could be detrimental. But if they're in the Conference League, I think they could genuinely win that tournament. If they're in the Europa League, I think they get knocked out pretty early. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with that. But I think their Premier League form is going to hold and they're going to finish eighth. Seventh, we've got another drop. Newcastle United. I used to live in Newcastle for several years. I went to uni there, and the fans are absolutely incredible. But the way their club is run is not. They have had the worst transfer window that they could have, and it's still looking likely that Isak leaves. And even if he doesn't, they can't play him. He has made a mockery of that team if they play him. So for me, they're going to really struggle. We saw what happened last time whenever they were in Europe and they dropped a lot. I think the exact same thing is going to happen, but the difference is they won't have Isak this year, and that is crucial. I don't like this whole narrative that they put forth, being like, "Oh, we're the richest club in the world, but we can't spend because of PSR." They're still trying to compete. They're still trying to spend money, but crucially, teams are bidding less than them and getting the player. They bid for Sesko. United bid less. He's gone to United. That's wild. They bid for Ekitike. Liverpool bid less. Liverpool even said to them, "We'll take Isak. You can have Ekitike, or we'll get them both." And at the minute, I think we're going to have them both. Sixth place, giant surprise, my dark horses fighting for Europe, Brighton. I never understand a Brighton transfer, but they always work. They've signed two Greek players for 30 million ish, and they're probably going to end up being worth 150 mil in the next 2 years because that's just what Brighton do. But in the meantime, I think their team is really starting to cook. If they're able to hold on to Baleba, if they're able to push forward, they've got good depth. I think it could really, really work for them this year. Yes, they've lost João Pedro, but they've still got that guy Welbs, and he is just an absolute goal scoring machine. And I think they finish sixth this year. If not, I think they'll finish fifth. But in fifth, I've got Aston Villa. I think it was a massive shame that they missed out in the Champions League last year. I think not doing it on goal difference whenever it came down to that United game, and they were absolutely robbed, could spur them on. However, they've lost players. They haven't been able to sign many players. They could struggle, and this could go massively wrong. They could finish down in the sort of eighth, ninth territory, but at the minute, I like the look of them, and I think that they will push for the Champions League and finish fifth. Fourth place, come at me in the comments, Arsenal fans, because I've got you in fourth. I think Arsenal missed the boat. I think when City fell off, everyone would have predicted that it would have been Arsenal to take that title, and they couldn't do it. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Now they've missed out, and I think they finished fourth. For the past few years, it's been we need a striker, we need a striker. Now they've got Gyökeres. Now they're saying they need a left winger. It's always something with Arsenal. Their fans are always coming up with another excuse as to why they can't do it. This year, I think all the teams around them have gotten so much better, and I don't think they have. I'll be really excited to see what happens between them and Man United on the opening weekend, because even though I think United are going to be awful this year, they could genuinely pull something out of the bag against this Arsenal team. I think Arteta just isn't the guy. He's not the guy to get them over the line. He's not the guy to win them a trophy. I don't think he ever has been. Yeah, they've got that FA Cup in his first year. What's happened since then other than more excuses? I think if Arteta is supposed to be this next top level manager, we would have seen it by now. For me, he's Pep Light, but he's Pep Light before Pep finished writing the book. He learnt under him, but he learnt under him whenever Pep was still learning to be even better. And for me, they don't do anything with Arteta. Third place, a team that is really exciting at the minute, Chelsea. I think that Club World Cup win is going to do magic for them this year in terms of confidence, in terms of fan confidence, in terms of the board backing the manager. I think they've got something really good cooking, and I think in the next 3 to 4 years we could see them fighting for Premier League title, Champions League title. Maybe they go back next year at the Club World Cup and do it again. I really do think Chelsea have got something. I really like their team. I think João Pedro is phenomenal. For me, João Pedro was always one of those players that you sign on career mode and he becomes 94 rated with 3 Ballon d'Ors. I think he's actually really exciting. And I think all they need is maybe a couple more signings in the defence and they could have a serious push for that title. I don't quite think they're going to do it. I think, like last year, they're going to start to fall away after Christmas. But the difference is this year, I think they stay in and around it. Second place, going all the way, fighting for the title, but not quite making it, Man City. And there's one reason, and one reason only, and that's Pep Guardiola. I think if you look at their back line, Stones is aged. Diaz doesn't look half as good as he used to be. And they've got Nunez at right back. That is a joke. I think they need a few more signings, but I don't think they're going to get them. And crucially, I just don't think that they're as far ahead in this rebuild as Pep and the City fans would like to tell you that they are. I think, yes, some good signings in the past year, but not enough. I know that sounds ridiculous whenever they seem like they've signed 1,000 players in the past few years. I think losing someone with the stardust like De Bruyne isn't going to be great for them. I don't think Foden is going to come back and have this season that people are saying he is. I just think that they're going to really struggle, and Haaland could do another season like last year, or he could do another season like 2 years ago. I genuinely don't know with Haaland. He really confuses me. I don't think he's actually an excellent footballer. I think he's just a great goal scorer. But if you don't have the players setting you up, you're not able to put them away if you can't make them for yourself. Which means one thing. It means Liverpool are going to retain the league for the first time in Premier League history. And I can't wait for it. I genuinely think that Liverpool could do the double. Wirtz, Ekitike, Frimpong, Kirkes. I think those are the 4 best signings that Liverpool could have made, bar Isak, who looks like he could come in. I think Arne Slot is a genius. I think being able to change formation whenever you want during a game just shows that he can push and turn games around and win. I do think we need a bit of defensive cover, and sorry Palace, but we want Gahey, and I do think we're going to get Gahey, which could push them further down, but could just solidify us for the title. I think our back line looks incredible. I think our forward line looks incredible. I've got a couple of questions about the midfield because I don't really know how Wirtz is going to play yet. I don't know whether or not he's going to be high and left, if he's going to stay central, if he's going to track back. Is it going to be Gravenberch and McAllister almost playing like a double pivot? Is it going to be Gravenberch and Soboslai? I don't really know how that midfield sets up. But what I do know is Salah's inevitable. Ekitike excites me. If Gakpo's playing on the left, he's just a goal scorer and a winner. I love whenever he cuts in and just bends it top right. But equally, Verts could play on that left hand side. Soboslai could move into a 10. McAllister could play as a bombing 8. I really don't know. But what I do know is we've got the depth, we've got the experience, we've got the hunger, and I really, really do think that Liverpool will win the Premier League at a canter this year. So that's my Premier League 20-1. Like I said at the start of the video, if anyone is able to correctly predict 20-1 in the comments, you'll win a £50 Amazon voucher. I can't wait to see what you all say. I can't wait to see what your predictions are, and I'll see you next week.